Cheaters discover that falsehoods and sexual encounters don't go well together like pearls. My busy spouse was cheating with a coworker. I informed our children of my motherhood. This has been written 3 times, but I always remove it before posting. It appears the 3rd time's the charm. Writing about it here to get it off my chest seems like a broken treatment. My wife Sarah is 41 and I'm 44. We've been together over 14 years. We have 2 kids and a lovely house. Not because things were bad, they were anticipated. We worked hard to raise kids. We occasionally went on dates to liven things up. Greg, a college buddy, introduced us. After graduating, Sarah returned to the city, and Greg assumed we would get along. I wasn't searching for much then. Even though I was upset after a lengthy relationship, Greg kept pushing us together. Sarah wasn't trying, and talking to her was pleasant. I didn't seek love. I prioritized being there and having fun. So I informed her before I was convinced I wanted to be part of anything meaningful. It sounds like. She agreed. But the conversation rapidly grew serious. Texting and hanging out increased. It took 3 months to discover I loved her. Really much like I was in, even though I didn't know it. A simple, lovely start works. We lived together after almost 2 years of dating. To be honest, I hadn't considered marriage. Sarah said it one night while watching TV, as we frequently do. It made sense to us both. Next thing I knew, we were arranging a modest family and friend wedding. Actually, we didn't plan for kids either. We had our first one a year after marriage, but we decided to proceed since we were both thrilled. After a few years, the second kid arrived and life became quite hectic. When working and parenting, Sarah is often gone from her work as an event organizer. My trust in her used to make me feel happy. She always showed up, and I never done anything to make her doubt me. She gained my trust because of that. That seems illogical. It may seem stupid, but my wife adores pearls. Over the years, she's loved my pearl jewelry. She loved something with pearls, which was odd because she loathed oysters. She emphasized if the businesses I bought pearls from were honest. I wasn't concerned, but I needed her to do her assignment. I merited your pearl love over the years. I got her a pearl necklace for our first anniversary. On our 5th and 10th dates, I gifted her bracelets and earrings. Came from wealthy firms that promised moral farming. She loved them nearly too much. She occasionally wore all 3 as a charm. She wore one item to every function. Without an event or occasion, they wouldn't leave their box. I was surprised to find her beloved earrings, which she hadn't worn in months, in her coat pocket while washing laundry. Before putting the clothing in the laundry basket, I filled and emptied the bags. They were there. I got her those little pearl stud earrings for our anniversary. She consistently wore the same earrings to work or formal events. They supported her, seeing them in a coat pocket like additional change. That was worrying. They stayed in their velvet cases instead of being worn. Tried not to. Seemed suspicious since I asked her foolish questions. Her response was that she had taken them off after an event and neglected to put them back on. She laughed without crying. My message may not have been understood. I sensed unease in her gaze. When she doesn't speak, I understand. I immediately noticed anything was wrong when she ignored me. After that, I pieced together all the odd facts I had observed but ignored. Nighttime spying was required. It was crucial that I worked quietly. I'm listening attentively, writing down her plan, and comparing what she says to what appears achievable. Was like. I monitored her social media after every late-night encounter to piece together her tale from online hints. That was hard, especially because I wasn't progressing. Try solving a problem with half the pieces missing. She was meticulous, or carefully enough to leave no evidence. She tells me she's going to a downtown hotel restaurant with a customer to organize a huge celebration one Friday night. She indicated she could return after midnight. A short stakeout was my idea because I was so committed to pursuing her. Make sure she was where she claimed she was. Since I didn't have anything life-threatening, I didn't engage a private investigator. About 9 at night, I drove to the hotel, parked near the front entrance, and waited. We can't find her automobile. I waited at least an hour looking at the door like a fool to get her to lie. Sarah wasn't me. My chest tightened at this moment. I realized everything I had been ignoring. She wasn't where she said. Where could she be at night if not at the hotel? That was my only query. After I returned home to find her gone. That night altered me. At that time, I chose improvement. She must have been ahead of me since I've been checking her phone whenever I can. Her applications delete texts, and half her texts disappeared. As a spy, I couldn't ask her why. My identity would have been revealed. Since we constantly had each other's phones, asking her in person would have been strange. I thought her social media was boring too. How in the world did she acquire event-running jobs? Her accounts seldom mentioned her initiatives. She appeared to be concealing her true intentions. Maintain everything tidy. I briefly considered my wife a secret prostitute. That guess was erroneous. However, I didn't know what to do. I thought facing her was the only way out. I had this thinking when I decided to stop sneaking and going mad. Disparaging the arts. Established tracking methods. Not thinking about money. I wasn't often. She handled most of the shopping and billing since I didn't want to. Even after getting what I desired, I trusted her. Easy to spot. She was different, card for all that. So the high-end dinners and hotel stays in locations we hadn't visited together weren't work-related either. One claim resonated with me. One motel was outside our city. It was far from her workplace. I found it to be a classy couple spot. That doesn't appear like a decent business meeting location. At the time, I wondered if her team conversations were work-related. She always used the app to chat to her pal about crucial things at night. She's always worked, and no matter what, I can't get her to rest. It was hard for me to discern real from funny. I knew she was busy with a legitimate job, but she seemed distracted. Behind the pandemonium, she masked her activities. Then, suddenly, it occurred to me that she may be cheating with a buddy. For someone so busy, it nearly had to be. When I checked her phone again, I opened her unprotected business applications. She opened around 100 teams daily. Any lock would have delayed her. She DM'd the individual like they were lower on the business ladder than she was. They were having explicit chats. Something nearly caused. I took away my phone after a long text thread discussing their ideal jobs and how they should consider them in the future, with some work-related chats thrown in. I was delighted I found out, but witnessing it all stung so much. It was my sole concrete proof. I filmed everything and saved it on my phone. It was crucial that I had everything. She hasn't focused on anything since the screen recording 3 weeks ago, but my kids have, so it affected me more than I imagined. People inquired how I'm doing, and I didn't look good. My diet and sleep are unhealthy, and I look terrible. Unfortunately, I can't tell them the truth, therefore. No idea. All I can think about is next steps. I hate living with a dishonest wife, but my kids will witness my decisions. I keep worrying about my kids and what they could go through if we split. It's not just me, right? People will get lost in this. Some part of me wants to tell you, I know what she'll say next. I still have no idea what to do. My mind have wandered. Should I quit and see what happens? Works? I'm sad when I think of our kids. I feel like I'm failing kids since I've always tried to be a good mother. Not just any flag can I ignore. The mother of my children and hubby. I've considered telling my brother about it. He may aid as a lawyer. He could tell me what to do, but would I have to tell him everything or stay? Maybe I should do my thing while she does hers. I'm sure I can find someone to have fun with. Maybe I can settle things and have my own affair. Not sure. Is that foolish? You guys think? Am I insane to stay? That, cheating back may make me feel more equal, but I'll always go the additional mile to get her what she deserves. When I sleep around, I like to do so alone. I also get nasty with my own flings. I don't need debt now. Because I need someone close to talk to, I may inform my brother. I understand your want to stay up, especially for the staying in a place where so many people are injured is hard for you and the kids. Kids perceive more vividly than we imagine. Changes. The last few months sped by. Many of your and my brother's replies were useful. I don't know how I survived without going insane. When I told my legal brother everything, he didn't hold back. He bluntly informed me that staying in this marriage would damage me and the kids more than leaving. He warned that things would worsen if I didn't act fast. No one loves to acknowledge their marriage is ending, so I wasn't sure I could trust him. The point he made was good. Sarah may lie if I don't act, and she believes I know about her adultery. She knows how to make the kids hate me and maybe shatter my money account. I didn't need to live with a lady who made me loathe her more every day. After our conversation, I initiated divorce proceedings. I had to defend myself and the kids, but I didn't want a protracted legal fight. It was too terrible to let her rewrite the tale. I informed my brother. He agreed with my need for speed. It was pointless to continue. Still, I saw I had. Playing was fun, especially with youngsters. Playing back only the screen clip that revealed my wife cheating was my choice. They were old enough to understand the direct messages that stated I love you, I miss you, and when are we going to see again? I kept out adult information. I know many of you would argue I should tell my kids the truth instead of protecting their mother image. She can go to hell. Kids benefit from early exposure to her personality. Being polite wasn't enough anymore. Lied to father. I planned to be the decent dad who turned bad before cheating on my wife. After they had hurt me so deeply, I made sure they would hate someone else. I got to the point. The firm Sarah worked for prohibited supervisors from dating workers due to fraternization. I knew it because she talked about it often. I suppose I had to risk it. Hotel records, credit card bills, emails, and other documents were my proof. My anonymous tip to her HR department came the next weekend. My goal was to harm her most. Her title, I knew she'd die. Let's move to Tuesday, she sobbed at home, terrible weeping. I was stupid, know how. I informed her of the situation. She was silent at first. She cried nonstop, shoved me aside and left. The next day she told me she had time off and hadn't worked. It is, no arguments or resistance from me. I waited until the proper time. I presented her divorce papers in the evening. Her face should be seen. It appeared like a vehicle hit her. She needed a minute to connect the documents I gave her to the workplace pandemonium. Her fall was awful. The kids came in to see why mother was sobbing so much. Next, I took out my messages. Put them down. I wasn't cunning. They were adolescents. I immediately informed them that their mother had done terrible things. My words were carefully chosen. I didn't want to harm them forever yet wouldn't lie. As predicted, Sarah became upset and threw things at me, yelled at me, and tried to make herself appear like the victim to silence me. She never looked that way to me, and neither did my kids. This frightened them. My kids and I entered my room. Closed the door, I waited for peace. Since the kids' luggage were packed, I drove them to my parents' house. We rested there to give everyone room. The weeks that followed were tough, she was Sarah. Phoning everyone we knew to tell them her tale, claiming everything was a mistake I had just informed my parents and brother, but she was trying to get me to walk, which was humorous since she was making herself seem awful. I didn't enjoy battling, so when some pals contacted or texted, I sent them my images without alterations. Our lawyers corresponded to conclude the divorce. I loved winning the cash and house. After all the difficulty, the kids didn't want to spend much time with her, so I gained partial custody and a lot of our money. She attempted to argue with me, but her proof prevented it. Proved that she used our account money on her affair partner instead of kid care. It's terrible that she gave me custody 6040 despite her violence, infidelity, and refusal to live with the kids. I hate how the courts mistreat women, but I have to accept it. I believe she resigned her job soon after the news broke. She had a horrible reputation at work due to gossip. Sarah's nature makes me doubt she departed alone. It was either fired or she left. Whatever it was, she couldn't cope. It was horrible. But I left, which made me grin. She pretended everything was okay when our family had a get-together lately. Birthdays of youngsters. She's clearly struggling. Seeing her fall brings me tranquility I never believed imaginable. It's more rewarding to observe than to apologize while she battles with her decisions. Life isn't wonderful, but I'm not happy. Not dealing with falsehoods and deceit is enough for me. That chapter is over. Despite the difficulty, you kept yourself and your children safe. Knowing how horrible things might be for your family, it needed courage to speak up and tell others the truth. I believe this circumstance is never simple to handle. You obviously wanted to keep the kids safe and informed. Even after everything you went through, the legal system may be difficult, especially with those in prison. However, it's encouraging that the kids can see the reality for themselves. Their refusal to spend time with her says a lot about them. You appear to have done everything you can to be the steady parent your kids deserve.